Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana is. Today is the last day for politicians to do their campaign rallies. Raila is having his rally at Kasarani Stadium. William Ruto is having his rally at Nyayo Stadium. And already I've made one observation from the two rallies. Kasarani Stadium is full to the brim compared to Nyayo Stadium. Though that's an analysis I'm going to do later in the day. In this video, I want us to have a look at a tweet by Oscar Sudi. Oscar Sudi yesterday conducted a poll through his Twitter handle where he asked Kenyans, with 3 days remaining to the elections, who would you vote for as your president? Over 60% of those who responded endorsed Raila Amolo Odinga. That forced Oscar Sudi to pull down that tweet. So in this video, I want us to have a look at that tweet, after which, as usual, we are going to dissect it to see exactly why Oscar Sudi conducted that poll in the first place, his aim and intention of conducting that poll, and whether he achieved that intended mission or aim, and why he pulled down that post. That's what I want us to have a look in this video right now. Before we do that, in case you are watching us for the very first time, subscribe, give this video a like. Yes. Yesterday, Oscar Sudi, taking to his Twitter handle, had this to say: Honorable Oscar Sudi, it's 3 days to election. Let's vote. William Ruto, 36%. Raila Odinga, 64%. That was 11 hours, 59 minutes left in the polls. And some few minutes later, or rather some hours later, just remaining 4 hours, 42 minutes, the polls were still saying Raila 60%, William Ruto 40%. So you can see that Oscar Sudi conducted that poll, and his aim of that poll was that the poll was most likely going to show William Ruto beating Raila Amolo Odinga. So as Raila Odinga was leading in the polls, Oscar Sudi was still optimistic that maybe a miracle was going to happen and William Ruto was going to overtake Raila Amolo Odinga. But 4 hours, 42 minutes left. Raila was still at 60%, Ruto at 40%. That forced Oscar Sudi to pull down that post because he knew that his intended mission of showing William Ruto leading would not be achieved. It forced Oscar Sudi to pull down that post. And this is a tweet that has actually been trending, and it has been published by so many and various online media stations. Raila Odinga defeats William Ruto in poll conducted by Oda's Oscar Sudi. A total of 34,984 participated in the poll shared by Oscar Sudi on Twitter, pitting William Ruto and Raila Odinga. Of the total participants, 61% said they will vote for Azimio la Umoja's Raila in the August 9 general election. On the other hand, the second in command came a distant second with 39% of the total votes cast. That's the tweet by Oscar Sudi yesterday. Oscar Sudi was forced to pull down that tweet. And as much as I know, Oscar Sudi wanted to use that tweet to create a perception that William Ruto is actually ahead in the polls, contrary to what the scientific polls are giving Raila Odinga. You know, if you look at these Twitter polls, Facebook polls, they are largely not scientific. They depend with the people, or rather the followers of that politician. They are largely not scientific. But if you look at scientific polls, the likes of Infotrack, TIFA, such kind of Ipsos, those are largely scientific polls. And if done properly, they largely show the accurate feel in a population. This online Twitter, Facebook, they're not scientific, and they might not actually show the feeling of the masses. But nonetheless, Oscar Sudi wanted to use this Twitter poll to actually discredit the scientific polls that have been showing Raila Amolo Odinga on the lead. And that is because some weeks back, UDA Brigade have been doing some polls through their various social media handles, polls that have been showing William Ruto beating Raila Amolo Odinga. So Oscar Sudi thought that this one again was going to show William Ruto comfortably on the lead. I know Oscar Sudi got a shock of his life yesterday because the polls actually turned upside down from the way Oscar Sudi actually thought and expected. What does that poll by Oscar Sudi mean politically? And why did Oscar Sudi actually pull it down in the first place? Let's dig deep a bit. That poll is an indication that indeed Raila Odinga is actually more popular than William Samoei Ruto. As much as I don't agree with such kind of Twitter polls, Facebook polls, because largely they are not scientific, the mere fact that they were done by a William Ruto supporter, a William Ruto foot soldier, I tend to believe a good majority of those following Oscar Sudi are people might be aligning themselves to William Ruto. But the mere fact that the poll can indicate Raila on the lead, or rather ahead, that should be a warning sign, or rather a warning signal to William Ruto and his team that maybe Kenyans, as August election approaches, Kenyans are actually changing their minds. Kenyans are most likely aligning themselves with Raila Amolo Odinga as opposed to William Ruto. I'm trying to say it this way. By Tuesday, Raila Odinga shall have actually opened a wider margin, or rather even a bigger margin, against William Ruto. And that's largely what I've been saying here. I've always maintained that as August election approaches, Raila is just about widening his lead against William Ruto. That's what that poll is just trying to tell us. If it was done by maybe Junet Mohammed, maybe I could have understood, because we assume that a good majority of those following Junet might be people supporting Raila Odinga. But now that it was done by Oscar Sudi, a very close William Ruto ally, that should be a warning shot, or rather a warning sign to William Samoei Ruto. Kenyans are deserting him as Tuesday approaches. Another thing from that tweet, I'm seeing a Tanga brigade who are desperate for propaganda. The only thing here that the propaganda actually backfired. The propaganda was that Oscar Sudi wanted to use that Twitter poll to actually brag and tell their supporters that we are ahead. That's what Oscar Sudi, in my honest opinion, wanted to achieve. But that tweet or that poll just backfired in Oscar Sudi's own eyes. And that's another indication, just as I've stated, Raila is actually widening his lead over William Ruto. And Oscar Sudi actually pulled down that tweet because it was actually an embarrassment. It was actually disillusioning their supporters and creating a perception that indeed the opinion polls are correct in showing Raila Odinga comfortably ahead of William Ruto. Oscar Sudi pulled down that post because it was causing confusion among William Ruto supporters and some form of disillusionment. That's why he pulled it down again. And also, if you go through some comments, or rather some William Ruto supporters, some are viewing that Twitter poll that Oscar Sudi made it deliberate for maybe Oscar Sudi might be a Raila Odinga mole. So Oscar Sudi already maybe knew Raila was going to lead in that poll. He conducted it deliberately to show Raila is actually ahead, and then he also pulled it down to also confuse other supporters into thinking that his intended mission was not to show Raila Odinga actually ahead, but already the damage has been done. That's what I'm making of that tweet by Oscar Sudi. In case you are watching us for the very first time, but so far you have not yet subscribe, give this video a like. To any other person, that's the kind of analysis we do here. We don't beat about the bush. We go straight on to the point. We call it as it is. In case you have not yet subscribe, give this video a like. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Kenya.